Assalamu alaikum, meet Ismail, an absolute technology genius.
He'll take you from basic electrical theory straight into real, hands-on builds.
Hit subscribe for weekly explainers and let's start building today.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another explainer. Today we're completely stripping away the complexity and taking a highly structured, fun, and honestly incredibly practical journey right into the very foundation of modern technology. Think of this as your ultimate back-to-basics tech boot camp. Whether you're looking to demystify the essential building blocks of computing for the very first time, or, maybe you just want a rock-solid refresher on how all these digital pieces actually fit together, you are in exactly the right place. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have a crystal clear, foundational understanding of the machine sitting right in front of you. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with hardware versus software, then move on to powering up and navigating. After that, we've got mastering the mouse, conquering the keyboard, and finally, we'll wrap up with Microsoft Office Essentials. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, hardware versus software, tangible and intangible. So there is this totally fundamental division in the digital world. On one side, we have hardware. This corresponds to all the tangible parts of a computer system. Basically, if you can physically touch it, the electrical cables, the metal cabinets, the monitor, the mouse, it's hardware, right? But on the flip side, we have software. And software is entirely intangible. You literally cannot touch it. It's the invisible set of computer programs, procedures, rules, and all that associated data that actually governs the operations of the whole system. And seeing them side by side just brilliantly illustrates the relationship between the two. The physical hardware, your tower, your monitor, your keyboard, they're essentially just dormant pieces of metal and plastic without their digital counterparts. The software, things like your operating system, your antivirus, or Microsoft Word, is what actually tells that physical hardware what to do. Think of it like this. The hardware is the body, and the software is the mind. And speaking of the mind, let's talk about the absolute most vital piece of basic hardware, the Central Processing Unit, or CPU. The CPU is the fundamental component of the computer. It's basically the brain of the operation. It's totally responsible for interpreting and executing instructions. When you run a software application, the CPU is what's actually executing those programmed instructions and doing all the heavy lifting with logical and arithmetic operations. But it doesn't work alone. It relies heavily on the motherboard, which is like the main circuit board connecting the whole shebang together, and the RAM, which acts as the computer's transient, short-term memory, holding the exact data the CPU needs right this very second. Which leads us to Section 2, powering up and navigating, bringing the machine to life. Now, you'd think turning a device on is generally straightforward, right? You press the power button, wait for the operating system to load up, maybe punch in a password. But here's something a lot of people actually overlook. A computer is not a television. You absolutely shouldn't just pull the plug or hold the power button down to turn it off. Properly putting a computer to sleep or shutting it down requires a specific set of digital steps to make sure you protect your software and your data. So here is the proper sequence you should really always follow. Step 1 is absolutely critical. Close and save all your open programs and information. Seriously, you do not want to lose your hard work. Next, you activate the Start menu, typically by pressing the Windows key on your keyboard. Then, just use the up arrow to highlight the Turn Off option, and finally, hit the Enter key. This safely tells the software to power down the hardware. Now, alongside shutting down, restarting, or suspending, you might actually see an option called Hibernate. So the crucial point here is understanding exactly how this differs from a standard shutdown. When you select Hibernate, the computer essentially takes a snapshot of exactly what you're doing. It takes all the tasks or work currently running in that transient RAM we talked about earlier, and it saves it safely onto the permanent hard drive before shutting the system down completely. Then, when you turn it back on, everything is exactly as you left it. It's a real game changer. Okay, so once you power up and log in, you're greeted by the desktop. And I want you to think about this using a real-world physical analogy. The computer desktop serves the exact same purpose as the top of a real physical desk in your office. It's your main work surface. You've got the taskbar at the bottom showing what's currently running. You have small picture icons representing your files and folders sitting right there on the desk, and maybe even a Windows sidebar with gadgets. Those are just mini programs giving you a quick glance at things like image slideshows or continuously updated news headlines. Moving right along to Section 3, mastering the mouse, your digital hand. The mouse is how you actually interact with all the elements on your screen. You use it to move objects around, open them up, or get rid of them. A standard mouse normally consists of a primary button on the left and a secondary button on the right. That primary left button is your main tool. You click it once to select an item, or you double-click it quickly to actually open programs and folders. The secondary right button is a bit different. Clicking it usually pops up a handy list of actions you can perform on a specific item. And right in the middle, most mice feature a scroll wheel, which is incredibly useful for just easily navigating up and down through long documents or web pages. Now, what's really interesting here, and honestly, something that gets totally ignored in most basic tech courses, is your physical health. These are some highly practical ergonomic tips. First, you should place the mouse at elbow level so your arms can just rest relaxed at your sides. Hold the mouse gently, guys. Don't grip it too tightly. Move it by rotating your entire arm rather than bending your wrist sideways, because that can cause some serious strain over time. Keep your fingers relaxed, try not to smash the buttons, and most importantly, take small breaks every 15 to 20 minutes when working at the computer. Your wrists will thank you for sure. Next up is Section 4, Conquering the Keyboard, your digital voice. Visually mapping out a standard keyboard can honestly look a little overwhelming at first glance. There are so many keys. But just remember, the keyboard is simply your main means of inputting detailed information. When you want to type, you look for a blinking vertical line on your screen, called the cursor, and that shows you exactly where the text from your keyboard is going to appear. To make it way less intimidating, it really helps to break the keyboard down into its functional zones because it is so much more than just a traditional typewriter. First off, you have the alphanumeric keys. Those are your standard letters, numbers, and punctuation. Then you have control keys like CTRL, ALT, and the Windows key, and those perform special actions. Across the very top are function keys, F1 through F12, which perform specific tasks depending on the exact program you're using. You also have arrow keys for easily navigating through documents, and finally, a numeric keypad over on the right side, which is arranged just like a conventional calculator so you can type out numbers really quickly. Now listen closely, because by far the highest value takeaway for efficient digital work is mastering keyboard shortcuts, using those control keys. If you hold down the CTRL key and press C, you copy a selected element. CTRL plus X cuts it, CTRL plus V pastes or gets that selected element. Made a mistake? No problem. CTRL plus Z will undo your last action. Need to grab absolutely everything in a document? CTRL plus E will select all elements. I'm telling you, memorizing these quick-fire combinations will drastically speed up your workflow. Let's move to Section 5 and see how this all builds together. Microsoft Office Essentials. So, we know the hardware, we know how to navigate the software, we can click our mouse, and we can type on our keyboard. Now, what do we actually do with those skills? Well, the answer usually lies in a software suite like Microsoft Office, which magically transforms all our inputs into valuable outputs. Microsoft Word is your go-to for writing and printing texts, letters, and faxes. PowerPoint is used to create awesome multimedia slides, incorporating text, images, sound, and animations. For business and data, Excel provides super powerful spreadsheets for calculation and graphing, while Access handles complex databases and queries. For communication, Outlook acts as your personal information manager and email client. And if you ever need to design marketing materials, Publisher offers templates to easily customize a wide variety of publications. And just like that, we have journeyed from physical wires and metal cabinets all the way up to creating complex multimedia presentations and databases. You now understand the basic hardware, the operating system software, the proper care of your physical tools, and the digital software suites that empower modern work. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Now that you've refreshed your foundational knowledge and truly control the building blocks of computing, what will you create next? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously can't wait to see what you built.